It is April in Paris, but actually it's June in 1954 at the Salle Pleyel in Paris. And it was Jerry Mulligan and a quartet of his colleagues with Bob Brookmeyer, valve trombone, Red Mitchell bass, and Frank Isola drums. And a wonderful evening at the Salle Pleyel. It is April in Paris and April in the mid-continent and April on the East Coast. Bob Brookmeyer's east of me, but on April 19th, Thursday next, he'll arrive at the concert hall at Carleton College in Northfield for a lecture demonstration. And then he'll stay for 3 days, Thursday and then Friday, April 20th, a rather unusual convocation, How We Make Music, and jazz composer-performer Bob Brookmeyer will discuss some of those building blocks. And on Saturday, he works with the students in the Carleton Jazz Ensemble, directed by David Singley. Bob Brookmeyer, I know you're there. Good to have you back again.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's nice to be there, too.
Well, simultaneously.
Yeah.
About those building blocks of music, what are they?
David Singley was at the Lake Placid seminar for a couple of summers, and we became friends. And I gave a lecture one night, or a talk, on how we make music with the intervallic structures, what the difference between the minor second and the major second is, and how dramatic that difference is when you're making music, and that the intervals themselves are the words that we use to speak with to make music, and that the rhythmic structure is the articulation of the speech, and then the harmony we use is the color, the final step. And he liked that, so I teach a modular system anyway of composition. And this seems to make sense. I've given it a similar talk to some patrons of Lake Placid, some rich people in Saranac Lake. So I figured it might be not disinteresting to the people at the convocation. I've never been invited to talk to a convocation before. So then I saw that John Updike was one of the first speakers in January, so I figured, what can I do that would make sense to a group of highly educated and discerning people?
Well, you certainly have some very eager students and ears, I'm sure.
Well, I hope this will go over well. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking to the history of things, that Mulligan Quartet that you appeared and toured with way back in around 1954, that was quite a little chamber group, wasn't it?
That was. Was that from the Paris concert, Line for Lions, that I came in on?
Yes,
I didn't know we sounded that good. I haven't heard the thing for probably 30 years or more. But that was a wonderful learning experience for me. And also, Jerry and I were extremely close. I think people didn't talk about being close in those days, but we were very close musically, and we had kind of an undefinable relationship. I think that by 1995, we both had cancer. We got even closer, I think, and then we found sort of a need to talk. But we had a long relationship, and I think he pursued it. He liked to play with me, and he liked me, and it was mutual. You know, he was a hero.
Yeah, hero of mine too. I used to live around the corner from him on 106th and Central Park West a long time ago.
That's in the late 40s?
Late 50s. Middle 50s, 52 to 56, somewhere right in there.
Okay.
Hadn't thought about that for a moment. Wow.
Yeah.
At any rate, that small group had such great flavor. We'll listen to more of it, but I wanted to ask you to just listen along with us as we pick out another combination that you recorded and just get some reaction to it.
Okay.
Well, that was part of your experience with the Woody Herman Band and also some other collaborations as well.
Well, that was with Giuffre. That was one of the happiest, most musical years, and in retrospect, I think one of the most creative years I ever spent, and one of the most important learning experiences. Giuffre is a hero, and Jimmy did what he thought had to be done, whether the public thought so or not. I know after this three that we belonged to, we improvised every night. And unfortunately, it was never recorded. People didn't make tapes then. That was one of the mainstays of our repertoire, and we didn't realize it. We were the first probably employed improvisation. Well, I'll start over. Improvising group. That was excellent then. And we all had that same time feel, Jimmy and Jim Hall and I, and that lasted, I think, still is around. But between the three of us, we still love each other, and that doesn't go away. That kind of close to us.
Great literature. I know the last time I saw you in person, it was back at the New York Public Library. It was the year 1997, and you were directing the Danish radio big band.
Oh, with Iliani, right, yeah.
With Iliani, yes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The European influence and impact on your life really is another reference altogether, and something to think about for all of us. How do you, how do you really see the European environment as far as jazz is concerned in relation to the U.S.?
I think the European environment in general is very positive compared to the U.S. We're going downhill in about every way you can imagine. And the socialism or allied governmental structures have worked very well in Europe. The young musicians, my New Art Orchestra is mainly European by choice. And I work mainly in Europe by choice because I'm able to do things there that I'm not allowed or cannot do here. The Musicians Union is what Frank Zappa told a conductor friend of mine, that the Musicians Union is killing music, and I think there's a lot to that. For example, my New Art Orchestra could rehearse free for a week and a half and make a record for no money exchanging hands. And in New York, the union would be all over us. Whereas in Europe, it's done for music. There's a lot more done for, if you'll pardon the phrase, the art of music there than is possible here. And the young musicians, as I said, are pretty well, the playing field is even now. There are some people over there that are very good, and also they do not have corporate entities like Wynton Marsalis and Lincoln Center, and most of the people are handed down to us by corporations these days. So they don't, in essence, waste their money on one entity or spend all their money on one entity. Lincoln Center is not important in Europe at all. It's only here. So you can't buy European audiences where you can pretty well hoodwink American audiences to a large extent. Long sentence.
Well, it states a lot of positions, and certainly that's your experience. When you think about it, what would make things better here?
Well, if they're going to start spending money throwing it around like they did in Lincoln Center, wound up in Lincoln Center, and in Washington, D.C., and then John Lewis, rest his soul, when he and Gary Giddens had the American Jazz Orchestra, these were primarily, especially Lincoln Center, repertoire orchestras, repertory things. We don't need, and we cannot in any way create the past. We need to encourage young composers. And if money's going to be spent, it should be spent that way. In Copenhagen, for instance, the radio band commissions music. The orchestra, a separate big band, commissions music and plays new music. The Copenhagen Art Ensemble the same way. So this is normal over there. It's not so normal here. We need... we need a better government, for one thing. We've had lousy governments for decades. And we need a populace that's informed. And then people used to ask, why are European audiences better than American? And I said they had more experience being audiences. they've been civilized for a long, long time. We were still killing Indians, and 300 years ago we had slavery until 1964. So we're a little behind the curve.
I've been talking with Bob Brookmeyer. You can hear him and see him perform as an artist, a lecturer, a demonstrator, a teacher, a mentor, beginning on Thursday, April 19th through the 21st on the campus of Carleton College. Lecture demonstration, 8 o'clock on April 19th. Convocation, How We Make Music, April 20th. And demonstration and performance concert with the Carleton Jazz Ensemble, David Singley, director. Bob Brookmeyer, thanks for taking time. We look forward to seeing and hearing you.
Me too. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.